forward to the breakout sessions there. So let's kind of slide over to our keynote speaker tonight, who is Daniel Asselin. I'll just quickly read. A seasoned tech entrepreneur, Daniel has spent the last 15 years building, acquiring, and growing several tech businesses that have enjoyed huge commercial success. His passion for technology started early when he sold his first program at the age of 13, and then sold his first software business to Sanyo at the age of 16. In 2018, AvantQuest, a subsidiary of Clarinova, merged with the tech group Daniel had created, resulting in a truly global software player. What's really neat about Daniel's presentation, the topic is really building a more resilient business, maximizing the internet. But, you immediately think of e-commerce and transactional information, and Daniel's presentation is far deeper than that. He'll share with you insights on how to maximize all the online tools that are there, whether you're an independent practitioner or you have a large business. Some of the insights that Daniel will share with us tonight are fairly extensive in nature and will be great tools for you guys to take away and give thought to on how to apply it to your own business. Following Daniel's presentation, we'll open it up. You have a chat on your screen that you can tailor questions, and Rachel will be helping me curate. We'll try and get to all of them as we navigate through it. But at this point, let's all please join me in welcoming Daniel. And Daniel, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. I'm not sure if my slides are on. I assume that they are. Beautiful. So hello, everyone. I'd like to discuss basically two different ways of getting more resilient in these types of climate. One of them involves getting your revenues up and getting more sources of traffic and more sources of income. The other one really talks about how you restructure your business so that you become more resilient. And so as we walk through this presentation, I'll kind of cover both of these. And I hope that you'll find this information as useful as we navigate through it. So I kind of said, on diversifying your income streams and becoming more efficient. We'll skip the next slide. Now, when it comes to diversifying your income streams, one of the things that is hard for most people and most business owners to think about is how do they transform some of their products and some of their services to an online business, into an online product. And so I try to, just for the purposes of kind of stirring your mind in the right direction, to think about examples about how it would take some, pretty standard brick and mortar shops or standard businesses or services and try to turn them into more of an online business. And so I asked myself, what advice would I give to bagel shop? And then I said to myself, why not have a weekly deliveries of fresh bagels and logs and orange juice maybe on Saturday mornings for breakfast, right? Or on Sunday morning, sorry. For breakfast, right? Or twice a week for breakfast. And you get this kind of a subscription service. If you're a physical trainer, why not deliver personal training stations with the monitoring for your calorie counts and all these things done one-to-one, when even, if you can't do those personal income type sessions, you can still do those Zoom video calls and charge your customers and still being able to recuperate some of the monies. And if you're an accountant, why not turn your business into instead of on a per service basis, on a per monthly basis, where you kind of offer a full featured service. Now, one of the things that I really like to focus on, and I think one of the clear messages I try to have in each and every one of those examples is that as much as possible, try to turn every one of your product into a subscription. I'm not saying that's always possible, but whenever possible, try to do this because it does two things. The first one is that it builds you a loyal brand of customers, right, that keep on ordering your product. And that's always great in times like this. And the other thing that's really important is that it's revenues that builds up really, really fast. And so I kind of word math, and you'll have it on the slide later if you want to download it. But kind of like a little example where I said to myself, if a bagel shop on average just got 10 customers to sign up a day for a delivery of a family breakfast, let's say for four, $25 a week, and on average, an average customer only lasted 6 months, so there was an attrition of customers because eventually they would get off the service. Well, guess what? Within a year, it's a service that delivers $30,000 a month of revenues, right? And that doesn't even need a storefront. So it's one way of getting there, and it's one way of ensuring that you have those continuing revenue streams even in times like these. And we'll go on to the next slide, please. Now, one of the things that you're going to have to do is to develop an online presence. And here I can't say enough that Instagram and Facebook are just not enough. I mean, you need a real physical website. And I've heard a lot of people tell me, you know what, I've been asked and I've been quoted, tens of thousands of dollars for websites. So let me just tell you one thing, and let me be clear on this. You should be using a tool that costs anywhere between $10 to $30 a month. That will get the job done for most small businesses. And you know what, in most cases, for most medium-sized businesses as well. There's a lot of great tools out there like Squarespace, Shopify, which to design great websites that do anything from online bookings to giving you a great online presence. Now, so you can develop these tools and you can get these tools done. Now, when you go and develop a website, one of the things I would like you to remember is what the objective is to your website. And too many times I see websites with just too much information. It's hard to get to. You don't really know what the website is all about. There's just too much information or in the wrong place. And so keep your message simple. And please ask yourself this every single time. What is the objective of your website? And this is a question that you ask yourself across the board, right? Every time you send yourself an email, what is the objective of my email? But in this specific case, what is the objective of my website? Is it to generate sales and direct online sales? Is it just to generate new leads in forms of emails or phone calls so that I can turn them into revenues for myself? Is it to inform customers my presence? Or is it a way for you to promote some of your products? So keep that in mind as you develop your website. And we'll go on to the website, to the next slide. Now, I talked about simple tools to build an online presence like Wix and site builders, but remember that the incredible tools are available for so many industries. Let me talk to you about just one of them called Power Diary as just one of the examples. So one of the people that I coach is a psychologist, and she wanted to know how she can actually get more business online, especially in times like these, right? And she wanted to be able to take bookings and do the payments and do all these things, and it sounded to her like she needed to hire developers and do something custom. Upon just a simple Google search, for a online management software for psychologists, I turned up with the number one result, which came up with Power Diary. With Power Diary, it's a simple website, and you enter some information, you put in your pictures, you describe what type of services you offer, and all of a sudden, it spews out a nice, clean-looking, beautiful-looking website with your ability to take online bookings, with your ability to charge money, with your accounting system hooked up, anything you need to run your whole practice online and do the Zoom video bookings at the same time. And if you have several practitioners, you can even actually extend them and have them part of the booking. And I'll get to this in my next slide as well, is that some of those services also allow you to actually connect with customers and actually refer you business as well. And so they actually serve as a kind of as a source of revenues and as a source of traffic for your own website. So they're terrific tools. Sometimes they'll charge you 20, 30% of your revenues as commissions. And again, it depends on the industry and what types of things. But and if that seems high, just billing part of your pricing. But they will generate, and they have the ability to generate tons of revenues for you, to fill it, potentially some available spots in your schedule or all types of things like this. And we'll move on to the next slide. Which brings me to sources of traffic. And so there are several sources of traffic that are available to you. And like I said, there's software like Power Diary or TutorMe that actually deliver everything from clients all the way down to traffic clients and a website. But there's also great affiliate or alternative traffic sources that exist. Affiliate networks are basically tools online or services online where people who have traffic can send traffic to your online store, and they'll get paid a commission whenever you realize a sale, or so whenever you make a sale. So one of these affiliate networks is ShareSale. And again, Google affiliate networks for your industry, and you'll see there's terrific tools that are available out there to get you fresh traffic for your leads and for your type of business to generate these types of demands. And go and buy traffic as well. Go and buy Instagram ads, Facebook ads if you think that's relevant for your audience. Go and buy Google, Bing, and Yahoo ads. Especially if you can make them local, these become really relevant, and you can get a lot of value from them. And as you buy traffic, remember, you're not just buying traffic to get visitors, you're buying traffic to generate sales. So if those don't work and don't generate revenues, ask yourself two questions. Am I buying the right type of traffic? Or do I have the right website? Am I answering the right questions? And am I getting my customers enough information to make a decision to buy from me? But bottom line is there are tons of tools and tons of sources of traffic available out there. And in times like these are moments where you actually want to leverage them. And let me tell you something, in our case of our business, traffic is about 40 to 50%. And while people aren't spending as much, our revenues are still up, at least on our online businesses, at least 25% on our consumer side. And so, consumers are still buying. Consumers are just moving more to an online model. We'll switch to the next slide. Now, as I said, Instagram and Facebook are great tools, and I don't mean to undermine them, but they're somewhat limited. And so as long as you know what they're good for and you keep them for this, they're great tools. So both of those help you keep in touch with your audience. It's about the message and the feeling that you want to leave behind, and mostly about Instagram. It's more about the branding. It's a way to remind them who you are and what you do. And it's a great tool also sometimes for promotional uses, both Instagram and Facebook, so you can advertise and you can get those followers instead of your stories and everything to put some promotional content. We'll move to the next one. But when it comes to really being in contact with your customers, nothing beats a good database of contacts, right? So emails, customer information, phone numbers, whenever you can get them, try to get them as much as possible. Imagine, in some of the businesses that do a lot of brick and mortar, these customers now don't visit your storefront anymore, right? But imagine if you had all their emails and you can run some of your promotions and you can find a way to actually clear maybe some of your stock that you had on hand and run some promotions. Maybe they would be available and they would be willing to come and buy. And so knowing who those customers are and actually engaging with them is critical. And so there's tons of ways to incent them, give them a coupon or a discount on their first purchase or on types of things like this. But there's all types of ways that you can actually get them to give you an email. And again, in times like this, or even when you're having promotions, it's a great way to re-engage with customers. And be frugal and purposeful with emails. Don't annoy your customers. They'll get off your list really quickly, and it's really annoying. But there are great tools that allow you to manage this and manage your whole campaign from A to Z, from the first customer gets a welcome email to what they'll get as a second email to a third email to your promotional and all these things. And they can kind of manage your whole campaigns from A to Z. We'll move to the next one. And here I'll kind of walk a little bit off script before I finish the presentation. This is kind of the last slide here. One of the messages I'd like to give you is as COVID hit and we closed our office, I realized how lucky we were that we were in a tech company that actually embraced technology from the get-go. We saw no disruptions in our business whatsoever. We just came off of a board meeting yesterday, and again, all the CEOs of the businesses reported that employees were working hard. They were delivering on all the numbers that they were supposed to do, on all the projects that they were supposed to deliver on. And that the number one worry was actually not that they weren't delivering, but that they were working too hard in times like these, and that they had a hard time cutting off between work and home and family life and striking that balance. And so what I'd like to get you to think about is, and again, everyone's going to have different tools and different things, but technologies and there are tools like Slack, like Office 365, Google, that you should embrace and allow and enable your workers to actually work remote. As we're coming back now to the office, and I realize how well we've been functioning without an office, I really question the fact that we have in our Montreal office 25,000 square feet of office space, right? There are better ways of doing business, and while some of our employees are very happy to return back to the office, most of them are kind of enjoying the freedom that they have from home and have demonstrated their willingness to continue to work from home at least a few days a week. And so we want to support that. We want to encourage this. We're getting great productivity. We trust them. They trust us. And it's been a great experience, at least on that side. All of the things, of course, that we know. And that's it. I hope this topic has been useful. I hope I've actually, lit up some ideas in your minds about what to do and how you can stir up some business. And I think I'm still available here for a few more minutes for questions. Thank you very much.
Just had to unmute. I'm learning. Thank you, Daniel. That was quite insightful. I actually have a question for you. I was, listening to the presentation, and our world's, everybody's business has kind of changed either radically or somewhat, and anywhere in between that. Business models are being challenged today, full stop, to we've lost a whole whack of customers, and are we going to get them back? One of the things that kind of caught my attention was our conversation related to affiliate networks, or your presentation. If somebody wanted to optimize an affiliate network, how would one go about searching these affiliate networks, finding them that make sense for their specific business? Are there tricks or tips that might be available to us to kind of say, look for these kinds of things, or look for certain things that will trigger, this could be a good network for my customer base? I mean, obviously the usage of or the application, but are there things that we should be looking for, or how do we even start that exercise?
I think it's a great question. first of all, they're beautiful resources online. And as you Google, how to find the right affiliate network, you'll find great results. But let me give you kind of a quick summary of what I think is really important in terms of selecting one. So when you Google this, first of all, you want to have one that has good coverage of your industry. And so, Google affiliate networks for I don't know, food suppliers or for bagels or for consumer products or whatever, for the gift industry, right? And so you'll find, hopefully, affiliate networks are very specific in catering to your industry. And that is good because that means that they have affiliates who are catering to your type of traffic, that have traffic for that industry. And so that's really what you want, number one. Number two is, I would say that the second piece of advice I would give you is, once you have an affiliate network, remember that affiliates are very savvy people. They're good with numbers. And when they're sending traffic to you, they're sending to you instead of somebody else. And so what they're going to want to make sure is, while they're only going to get paid a commission every time they make a sale, in the end, they still want to know that if they're sending you 100 visitors a day, they're going to make more money sending you that traffic than sending it to somebody else. And so, keeping in mind that once you have an affiliate network, it's not the end all. You will get some affiliates that will try you. But if your website doesn't convert, if it's not a good website and doesn't have compelling actions, then those affiliates will eventually stop sending you traffic and go elsewhere. So I guess that would be my general advice about affiliate networks. But once you've got a good website, they're a great source of traffic.
Cool. That's great. I invite you guys to throw up your questions if there's anything that's kind of piquing your interest. Daniel's going to be with us for a couple more minutes. There is one other question that's come up. When you talk about your recurring revenue model, I think it's an important thing when we sit and think about that, and it's really insightful because it does create a consistent revenue stream if you can create that, and I think you probably look for products or services where a consumer will use on a regular basis, so there'll be an interesting aspect of it. Are there ways, like I'm trying to think of an example because the question came in, and with respect to things that somebody would buy once.
That's a great question. I actually asked myself this question just before the call, because I said to myself, okay, what if I'm a gift shop owner?
Right.
I mean, gifts is something that you go almost on an impulse, right? You'll go in and you'll buy a gift on a special occasion. But I said to myself, you know what? If I'm a gift shop owner and I know I have a gift and it's for my son, or if it's for my grandmother, or if it's for my wife, you know what? Why don't I put this in a subscription? What's your budget every year? I'm going to make sure that your wife receives a present before you forget. Right? So there's tons of ways. And by the way, give me your names of your kids, give me your names of your grandma. Let me put them all on your list. Give me your credit card. And bang, you've got a system where you can do this. Right. So I think there are creative ways around each and every one of those solutions. You just got to figure it out. And maybe it's my slant of the last 5 years. I'm obsessed about building recurring business models online because it's so expensive to acquire a customer. But once you've got it, hopefully, if you do a good job, you've got him for life or for a really long time. And so, right, I'm always trying to figure out, what's a service that a customer is really going to want for a very, very long time, and trying to pitch it that way, and trying to adjust the service and the offering and the pricing until I find, a really sweet spot, and then I just scale up and advertise more and sell more of it.
Yes, if you allow me, Daniel, as a banker, on the banker side, we'll love to see the line recurring revenue on the.
I know.
And that's indeed.
Trust me, when investors look at how much revenues we have from recurring customers, it changes the whole conversation, because it means that your business is so much more resilient. I mean, I know that I cannot talk numbers, but I know that if I were to close my shop today, my whole business today, we've got huge amounts of revenues that are just built up for years to come. Right? And that's hugely comforting.
Amazing.
On the cash flow, so that's give you, because a lot of businesses, they control very well the expenses. So the part of the expenses, then control of this, it's clear. But many, and especially now that what we are seeing, they are not in a great control of the revenue side. So there is no subscription, or it's just depends on demand, depends on seasonality. For sure, there is a factor, but recurring revenue, that's.
I just love what you said, and I think the bias in my presentation was in this way. I think I had the bulk of the presentation was really about growing your revenues, and one slide was on managing your costs, because I believe this is the way to run your business, right? You want to get if you get new revenues, if you always get and grow your revenues, expenses is not an issue. You'll always have money to pay your bills. Right. So always what you need to be focusing on is driving new revenues, delivering a great service to your customers so they keep coming back. But the whole message here is get new customers, get recurring revenues, and get it through all the different means that are available to you. Absolutely.
Daniel, there's a question that came in, by digitizing a service, even like a personal trainer, you might find yourself against international players or better suited competitors. How do you keep like a local flair for digital transformation, like for a service specifically, or making sure you keep your existing clients in that capacity? Because now the threat is you went past driving to your local trainer, you have an open competitive world that's much larger in scope.
It's a great question. So if I were a physical trainer, here's what I do. First of all, I get myself a great Instagram page, right? And, keep it as a way to have that local audience, that local content, and that engagement with your local users, because you didn't have those local users. Second thing I would do is sign up to myself to, and I forget some of the services, but Mind Body Online is definitely one of them. But there's other services that I've seen that go even beyond, where you can offer your customers a nutritional plan, follow-up plans. They have an app on their apps, and you can monitor them, and so deliver even additional services beyond what it is. And again, you can offer this for $20 a month. You don't need to develop your own app. Right, $20 a month as a trainer. You have your own website. You have this own app that you can deliver to your customers and do absolutely everything, and even get billings on the internet with their credit cards and manage your whole business online. So that's one way. Number two is I would go and sign up to 2 or 3 of those international players and make sure that my time is filled up, so that if between 3 and 6 p.m. this is where I'm not getting business in Montreal. Well, you know what? Maybe this is a great time for LA customers, and so those LA customers are going to fill up those slots, because my time is valuable, and so that's how I'm going to fill it. And so you don't have to look at just one way and one channel and one brand. You know what? If you've got some free time, I would split up this way.
I'll add one more thing. Use your creative mind, right? And don't think for a second, just because somebody's based out of LA or Paris or any other city, that they're more creative or more ingenious than you are. I mean, I think what Daniel shared, there's lots of tools out there. It's just a question of, throw them on to your thing. What's beautiful today is you can test absolutely everything, because people are open-minded to new things. I mean, our world is completely upside down right now. So taking advantage of any of those things, to the person who asked that question, what I'm saying to you guys is, put that creative hat on and let the ideas flow. Daniel's given you tools and kind of where to go look for those affiliate for those types of opportunities.
I'd like to touch on just one little point.
Sure.
Just in something that you said that's absolutely brilliant. When we first started, I mean, now we're a big company, but when we first started, we were 3 guys in the garage, right? And we were outbidding Microsoft and Apple on some music keywords and some competitive keywords. But the thing is, we had a gorgeous looking website. We had a great product. I wasn't afraid to compete with them, and nobody knew we were a 3-person, set up in a small garage. And so the beautiful thing about the internet is you're selling all over the world, 24/7, in all the different geographies, and you can be a little schmuck somewhere in a garage and still make tons of revenues. Right? It's beautiful.
There's a bunch more questions, so I want to get through them before we wrap today and move to the breakout sessions. Daniel, do you feel affiliate networks will work well with professionals selling services, not necessarily sales?
Absolutely. They're great ones for actually lead generation. They're more what we call lead gen affiliate networks. So they're geared towards generating leads. So whether you're an accountant or a lawyer or whatever your profession is, you can actually buy very qualified traffic on all of these keywords.
So even like for oral hygiene or for dental offices, interesting.
Absolutely. I mean, and now whether it's Instagram, Facebook, Google, all these things, local advertising, you can get so granular. You can actually even advertise to those people who are between 45 and 75 and are women and have 3 dogs. I'm exaggerating, but almost.
Okay. So one of the questions here, and I'm not sure I understand it, but do you have any suggestions for line busting outside the store for customers waiting to get in? So maybe I need some clarity on line busting, unless you understand it. Is that an online term or whatnot?
I guess to avoid lines in front of your store?
You know what? Why don't we do this for the fellow or individual who asked that question? Maybe we can get a little clarity, and we'll come back to that one on just what we mean by line busting. Daniel, how would you promote management consulting for SMEs online? Like my wife's HR consulting services, as an example, would be a good one.
Mm-hmm. So I would definitely develop a professional website. I would make sure that in the end, I mean, her only objective is to capture an email or to capture phone number, right? That's what she wants because she's not going to do an online transaction. Nobody's going to sign up and pay and give her a credit card number online. So everything should be geared towards getting an email and getting or phone call from that. So it should be very informational. It should be specific. And what you should do is she's probably going to want to advertise on different channels, right? So maybe she's going to want to buy some Google keywords on, I don't know, let's say HR, let's say it's litigation or post-litigation or whatever. It's something very specific. So what I would advise her to do is that if she has some specific keywords or specific things that she would do is on top of the general website, that she would prepare specific landing pages. So a page that targets this specific needs that she does, and that's what she would advertise on those keywords on Google and everything, because that's going to bring her really qualified traffic to those pages. People are going to sign up to this very qualified type of needs, and that should give her a lot of business.
Hey, I just want to add a little bit of color to that. While Daniel was saying you really need a professional website, don't think for a second that you should equate professional with expensive.
No. Thank you so much.
The important part here is to really look at the content that you're putting out there. Make sure that the message you're putting is articulate, that it really, wraps the content of what your service is all about and how fast you can kind of provide that as a value add to your customer base. And again, today, as Daniel showed in his presentation, you don't have to spend a lot of money to really have value to the creative message that you put out. Content is king in most parts. Daniel, I had a question. There was another one that just came up. We've talked about the independent practitioners. We've talked about, personal trainers and HR consultants and stuff. Do you have an example of a model flip, because of COVID, that's in a large scale kind of exercise? We've talked about, I don't want to say only small or independent businesses, but, a medium-sized business that's got, let's say, sales of $30-40 million, that's got a model shift that needs kind of a reinvention. Do you have some examples of that might be able to help some of our viewers?
Yeah, actually, I have a good one that just came to mind. One of my new friends approached me, and he has a Schmata business, and he's actually a large distributor of products, and they're high fashion products, and probably by next season they'll be out of style, and so he was quite keen on getting rid of about millions of dollars of inventory, and he has thousands of influencers all over the world that promote his products and that have his products, but the problem is all the stores that he sells to are closed, right, and so they're not taking delivery of his products. And I invested in a little startup, actually brained a little startup, and the timing was quite incredible, that does online video shopping. So what we're able to do now is to create on his website, add a little button where people can actually do online video shopping. So from his warehouse, he has people are in the warehouse being able to show the clothes, show the things and everything. He's able to actually schedule fashion shows where during the fashion shows, people are doing and showing the clothing and being able to take online orders directly. And he's went to all of his influencers, the 1,000 or more, shipping them specific items and getting them to do their own fashion show and being able to take online orders on his shop. So there are tons of very creative ways of actually getting rid of your merchandise, of doing some funny stuff with what you have and everything. I mean, I'm not saying there's always a solution. I'm sure there's some really, really hard problems out there. But in most cases, there are solutions, and traffic on the internet is way up. I mean, we're measuring traffic every single day, and it's way up. And the good news is, I mean, maybe for some of you it's a bit too late, but in our case, not only is traffic way up, but the cost of our trying traffic is way down. So we're trying more customers cheaper than ever. It's a great time to be online.
We were talking about line busting, and Dan, who asked the question, was specifying, he's referring to the lines outside the stores and how to streamline or potentially make more interesting for clients. I'd like to add something to that. I'm a frequent visitor of the SAQ, and when those lines start to get a little long, I end up conversing with the person standing 6 feet in front of me or 6 feet behind me. But if I could suggest, the idea is creating engagement. If you're walking into the store, if you're walking into an environment that you're about to walk into, think about the experience your customer's about to have. And if you can facilitate information, content, let's use the SAQ example, if there are specials of the week, maybe, we can find a way to have that available to people while they're waiting in line. I think, the method is really about stimulating some sort of a thought process or keeping them engaged in some capacity while they're waiting in line. Daniel, if there's some online tools that come to mind, share with the group. I'd like to hear it.
No, but I think, what you said was brilliant. The only thing I would like to add is, as you switch more and more of your business to online, you'll get less and less of those queues, and you'll need less and less retail space as well.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you're providing more of these things, and one of the other examples that I had is my my pet shop store that is not too far from our house delivers locally, and so he had my number and he offered the delivery service of the food. And every time he calls, you know what he tells me? By the way, I have some dog treats. Do you have enough of the bags? Do you have enough of those things? And so he ends up bumping the order. He does a great job. I did my product, the way that I want, and I don't have to stand in line. It's great. Right. And again, you can do these things and you can package these things online. And so you can take a lot of this foot traffic and convert it into more of a subscription model.
Right. I need to stop using the SAQ as an example, because now people are questioning what I have in my beverage, and it's starting to get sideways.
And there's nothing we can do about the SAQ yet.
No. There's an important, there's another, somebody asked the question of, what's the best way to generate leads when you have a one-time business? And we were talking about that a little bit earlier in the Q&A period. But she used a good example, or he used a good example. I'm not sure, it doesn't show who it is that's asking the question. But if we use an example like interior design as a service, when you're looking for one-time leads, I guess what the viewer is asking is about generating maybe recurring model, and interior design is a significant investment, and one that kind of goes back and forth.
Yeah, and that's a harder one, but at least she has the privilege of knowing who her customers are, and so maybe it's to take advantage of this dead time and to say, hey, by the way, why don't we do some Zoom videos and let's look at those curtains, and maybe that was a good time to change them. It's a hard one because I'm not sure many people are also in the mood to be spending a lot of money right now. But so it's all these things considered. But it's one of those hard ones. But here's the first thought that I have.
I'll add one thing, because when I had to set up my office here, I first started in my dining room, and then realized that with 4 boys, the action in the main part of my house, I had to move. So I set up in my basement, and I've been walking around my house, seeing every single imperfection that exists. It's driving me up a wall, and Exactly. I'll tell you right now, the first chance I have to redo certain things, to look at aspects of it. So, Naomi, if as an interior designer, if you want to spark some thoughts, the idea here is thought-provoking ideas. You talk to me about how to turn my old nanny's room when we had young kids. We needed a live-in. Today, we don't need one. And I'm working in half the office. I'm in a corner, but I'm ready to redo my office, put some real stuff in, have a nice rustic door like the one Daniel has behind him, or great pictures around the background. These are the ideas that we can kind of have some fun with when we're kind of playing around. So, it's time now to take the creative hats, put them on, and kind of roll with that kind of thinking. Yep.
Glenn, if I may, this is also a time to get on Instagram, get on Facebook, build a community, build a level of trust. As an interior designer right now, if you're on Houzz and using all those platforms to show the different designs that you have in different spaces and ideas, I know a lot of interior designers that I've been speaking with recently that have been offering free Zoom consultations. So without people even leaving their homes, to really take a walk around, and those things that are bugging you, Glenn, come up with a list, and really you create a different level of trust, and you're creating a different offering than you've ever been able to make before, where, like I said, people don't want to have professionals walking into their homes, but you're changing up the whole concept of it.
Who said that a plumber can't be a great marketer? I mean,
Exactly.
Ben just created the first step for you, a questionnaire maybe that could spark people to walk around the house and kind of look at, where are areas that you'd like to live in a better environment, or give some actual tips on things. There is one last question that we'll take because we're kind of getting a little bit tight on time. If I'm developing a new website, how do I know it will be efficient and perform to my expectations? Oh, wait, sorry. Hold on. There's an expansion here. Sorry. If I'm developing a new website, how do I know it will be? Oh, it's repetition. Sorry, my bad. So I guess the question is, how do you measure expectations, or what are the variables to use when you're quantifying results? And if I'm explaining it right, I hope that's the case.
So I'm not sure if I'm understanding the question. So on one side, I'm understanding that, how can I make sure that it's going to withstand the amount of traffic and growth? Is that kind of what I'm understanding?
Let's go on the assumption of that, because I don't.
Okay, because let that be your problem. These websites can scale to thousands of visitors a day. If you get past that, let that be your problem. Right? Let you hit a snag. You're gonna have enough problem to solve all those problems. So don't think of these things. Start small. Start with the small budgets, $10 a month, $30 a month budget a month. Oh, and the only thing so I can you repeat the question again, because I think there's a potential other meaning, and I want to make sure that I cover.
So I guess I'll just read it verbatim.
Oh, yeah, it's performing.
If I'm developing, performing. That's right.
So the other potential way is performing in terms of online sales and online commerce. So the best way to do this is to actually throw traffic and throw money at this. And so if you're going to buy, let's say, $10 of advertising a day, what you want to make sure is you're generating at least $11 worth of margin. And that's my only guidance from there. Right. And what you want to do is you measure this. And so if you're seeing that, $10 of traffic buys you 100 visitors, but none of them are buying, well, then there's something obviously very wrong with your website. Right. But, you should be getting anywhere between 2 to 3% conversions. And so as you scale up your traffic, you try to optimize and you try to make sure that every part of your website is working well. Make sure that you offer American Express. Make sure that you offer all methods of payments. Make sure, don't be cheap onto the, for American Express. Absorb their cost. Make sure that your customers have absolutely no reasons why not to do business with you. Make it easy and as easy as for them to do business with you. That's all I can say.
So we'll wrap with this one last question, and maybe I could actually point the question to both you and to Yulia. The question was asked, if you decide to launch a business now, what would be the first step to raising money? So I guess the question is really, first and foremost, what's the industry? What's the sector? Those are variables that I'm sure play into effect. But maybe Daniel or Yulia, if you guys want to take that.
I'll let Yulia start.
So it's a broad question because it depends very much on what is the industry. Startup, I'll be honest with you, it's harder to finance by a chartered bank. I don't say that it's not possible. We've done it, but it's harder to fit in the box of the financial institution. So I'm thinking here depends on how much do you need. You have now some interesting, not banks, but financial institution and partners who are helping to start up. Idea just that comes to my mind is Futurpreneur. If you are between 18 to 20 to 39 years old and you are starting a business, this particular partner, in partnership with the government and with BDC and financial institution, they're able to provide you up to 40,000. Now they increase to 60,000. So that's a good start, for like you have PME Montréal, PME West Island. So they're mandated by the government to help the startups. They are mandated to inject money. It's a loan. In both situations, it's a loan. We're talking about the rates are not crazy. They're quite normal and standard to the market and the reality that we are living in. And they've showed themselves very resourceful for a lot of clients that are known as startups. So PME Montréal, Futurpreneur, I will give in my session all the links that you need to know. And depends if you want to go with in partnership or that will be more shareholder injection.
Gotcha.
So it will be, yeah.
Thank you. So that's going to be a wrap for the kind of Q&A period. Daniel, before we say goodbye to you, a massive thank you for your time, for the energy, for the insightful presentation. Ben, Yulia, both equally informative, and we'll continue on in our breakout sessions. Ben, I'm really curious to hear more. I'd also like to maybe, if you can help provide, I'm sure there's a whack of people looking for suppliers on a number of different PPE products and whatnot, that maybe you can lend some insight. Yulia, I'm looking forward to jumping into your session and actually talking a little bit about how to get ready for those bank presentations. I will add one thing on raising money. There's both regular loans that Yulia works with on an ongoing basis, but you've got equity-based kind of financing that are huge. Daniel, looks like you wanted to actually add some insight into that.
Maybe just one quick thing on the
Sure.
raising money. My only advice: don't try to, and I'm serious about this. Try to make your business without taking a single dollar from anybody. And as a matter of fact, try to raise your business and to start your business with no more than $500 investment. And you know what? I won't get into the details, but some person came and wanted to actually build a school, a private school in California, and we turned it into a whole online business. Thank God it was pre-COVID, and she didn't try to raise all the monies that she wanted, but she turned out into a very, she delivered on her mission of being able to deliver tutoring with an online platform with $0 investment. And so there are ways to scale your business and to start with zero. I've started my business with less than $500. You can go from zero to anything if you just take it by step. And so
super.
That's my advice.
So we're going to wrap for the first part of our discussion. Both Ben and Lauren, Andrew, if you guys, if I have this wrong, correct me with our back channels, whatnot. But a fast, where I believe.